All right, and we're back. Is this on? Can you guys hear me? Why does that seem like it's not on? No, I don't think it's on. I know. See, I told you technology was going to be a problem. Oh, nope. You're my savior. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to need a lot of saving today. Appreciate it. So we have a few announcements before we introduce our speaker. But anyway, did we make any decisions about the food we would suggest to people? I think our table might have gone with hot dogs. It was controversial. What is it? Hot dogs? No pizza? No Italian beef? Oh. Okay, we have a winner. I like it. Okay, so we do have a few announcements. I just want to remind everybody that next week's meeting is at Ovley on the Park. If you have not joined us there, it's a great location. If you have any questions about finding it, we're happy to help you with that. And we do have a discounted parking. Ooh, I'm doing the slides. We also have several things that are coming up, so you need to kind of be thinking about people to nominate. We have the CPS grants. Applications are due by April 11th. If you know any teachers, if you know anybody in the system, that would be great. We also have, let's see, the little finance update. I do want to point out that Alicia and Allison are my saviors today and every day from Blue Outcomes. We really appreciate it. You may be hearing from them. We want to remind members that we're updating some financial information, so please help them out with that. Give them a call if you need to update that yourself. We have Woman of the Year banquet coming up. Those nominations are due March 31st. I believe the date for that meeting is June 3rd. Be sure that's on your calendar. And we have Job One. Alita, did you want to talk about Job One a bit? We have those applications are due March 14th. It's a critical program. And also I want to say that Catherine Turner has also taken some of the bourbon boxes, which is a fundraiser for that. So she's going to do some fundraising for you.
I love how her and Sarah always ask me to come up and talk when I have food in my mouth. So it's amazing. So Job One is our signature program that we recruit Chicago high school juniors and seniors to give them profitable jobs and mentorship. And we also recruit employers. So if you know any students that live in the city of Chicago or go to school in the city of Chicago, please let them know about this program. And if you are an employer in the city of Chicago, or you have a hybrid position, because it's a new day, so some of our students work hybrid, please have them reach out to me, and we love it. And then, as she said, we have a beautiful bourbon box, because I keep being told, don't say bourbon for kids. So drink bourbon, help kids. That's my new, and so we have boxes for $1.99 that will go directly to our scholarships to help our students in college. Thank you.
All right, thank you again, Catherine, for taking some of those boxes, be our sales force out in the world. Oh, she's just going to take them out. We're going to buy one and just divide it up in a meeting. I don't know why I didn't think of that today. It would have really helped, right? Yeah. So let's see, we did Woman of the Year. Okay. I also want to say that I attended the PETS conference. If I know many of you have attended that kind of thing before, and that was a lot of information. But to me, we're going to be really looking to some other clubs, finding out what their service projects are, making sure that we're kind of jumping on those with each other and contributing to each other. So today, we have with us from California, Dr. Richard Godfrey. And I don't want to spend too much time on that. I am married to medicine, but I don't speak any of the language. So I just want to say that he is doing work all over the world, including cervical cancer screening, projects all over the world. He's done missions all over the world. He is a great Rotarian. Talk about a great example of the service that he does. He was in the Peace Corps in Nepal. He's also executive director for a nonprofit graduate medical education program for surgical residents. and Chief of Surgery at Kaiser, Fremont, and Hayward. He's an active apiarist. Okay, I had to Google it. Anybody know? Bees. Wow, you guys didn't even have to Google it. You just knew it. So, and he has a beagle named Darwin, too. I really love that story. I like the human interest. But please welcome, give a warm Rotary welcome to Dr. Godfrey, and we'll try to get his slides up. Okay. All right, so I might need technical help on that. Let's see. Okay. Thank you, Allison. She's going to bring up your slides. Okay, so this, you have to, it's a manual system, so when you change slides, you just do the down button. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, President-elect. I am so honored. I cannot tell you how special it is for me. I have dreamed about Chicago One. This is absolutely a thrill for me to be here, and especially because some very special people to me are at one of our tables, and Margarita Huco is just one of my favorite people on the planet. So is Catherine Turner, and we are working together in a Bolivia program, which I'll share with you, which you are all part of, and I just extend my thank you to that right off. And most special for me of all is my godson Jared. I don't want to give anything away except that he's very young and he's very smart. So you should cultivate this guy. Now, often I cannot believe it. My phone's ringing. I'm sorry, but I have to take this call. Hello. Yeah. Oh my God. I never dreamed that this call would, well, St. Peter, yes, there is a reason that I called you. Yes, sir. The reason I called you is I'm really wondering whether it would be possible to talk with Paul. He's there. He's with you right now. Oh my gosh. Mr. Harris, this is such an honor. I want to tell you, I'm right now at the Chicago One Club, and I had some questions if it would be all right. This is such an honor to be able to speak. Yes, sir. So get to the point. So my question, Mr. Harris, what should we be doing right now in Rotary? Yes, sir. Goodwill, better friendship, of course. Is it beneficial to? Yes, sir. Beneficial for absolutely. But my question was maybe a little more specific, sir. I really wanted to know what should we be doing? You know about polio. You do know. Oh, excellent. We're gonna keep 100%. We're gonna eliminate this. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I promise this club here has done more than anyone. And oh, you said not so many words. Get to the action. Yes, sir. I got it. Thank you, Mr. Harris. It's such an honor. And please, best wishes from all of us here in Chicago. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I wish them as well. I really appreciate it. Thank you. See, Catherine, you said something about heaven, didn't you? Now, never underestimate AI. I'm telling you. Never underestimate. Okay, let's get to work. So Paul Harris, he does believe in actions more than words. I love this slide. That's a stamp from Brazil. And you notice he has a smile. Not everybody is familiar, but apparently he was pretty good at practical jokes. He was so good that he was expelled from high school. I think he was also expelled at one time from college. He had a sense of humor. There's no question. And I hope, please bear with me with playing with AI. But I want to talk more. All of you will recognize Benjamin Franklin. he was known as an inventor. He was a polymath. He was, a statesman. He was a genius in many, many fields, a musician. He was always remembered because he had that kite up in the air. And a lot of people think that he was just outdoors, and no, he was not. He was inside a house, standing on a ground pad. He also invented the lightning rod. So he kind of knew it's not a good idea to get all that electricity at one time. Not everybody did, and so a few people didn't survive when they flew their kites up in the clouds. But one of the things that Franklin said, in this world, nothing is certain except death and taxes. Well, he was a great scientist, but he was wrong. And he was wrong because there is immortality. And we were talking earlier about Henrietta Lacks. She, at the age of 30, was diagnosed with cervical cancer. She went into Johns Hopkins Hospital, a biopsy was done, and from that biopsy, we have been utilizing, you're probably familiar with HeLa, H-E-L-A, H-E for Henrietta, L-A for Lax. Well, that particular sample of cells was the first time in history to get cells to be able to culture out. And from that time, they have led a lot of our research throughout medicine since that time, including polio, including the HPV virus. So her cells are immortal, and it just shows you that you can do great things. Unfortunately, she had a horrible death from cervical cancer. And that's why I'm here to talk to you today. That's an example of the HPV virus with some phosphorescence, and there are many ways to demonstrate. And they don't look as threatening as they are in real life. Now, I didn't share with you, I'm from California, from the Niles Rotary Club. One of our leaders, somebody that we might have been, he was an international president, so I know he visited probably this club several times in the past. And Richard King said, every second of the day, we heal the sick, we save lives, we bring hope, we bring peace. And that's the thrust of Rotary. And in doing so, the Rotarian becomes a changed person. And Rotary truly did change my life tremendously. But one of the things I learned from Mr. King, he sang in Las Vegas a lot. He had a great voice. He was also an attorney, so he called himself the Singing Sewer. And he taught us these steps of leadership. He said, set a goal that's reachable and that makes you reach. Have a plan that can reach that goal. You have to work that plan. And you got to recognize the people who support and reach that goal, such as Margarita and Catherine Turner. If you get a chance, talk with Catherine. Catherine is an amazing, amazing person, and so is Margarita. But what's the problem? This is the problem, and I know that many of you are familiar, but I'm going to go over this again. You can see the slides. 360,000. Polio, nobody really dies from polio. Paralysis is a horrible thing. But cervical cancer kills every 90 seconds. A woman is dying from cervical cancer, mostly in low-income countries. And that's because they don't have screening programs. They really don't have pap smear in the way that we've had in America. The bottom line, these two viruses are similar because they're both human viruses. They need humans in order to perpetuate, and yet they're both preventable. So WHO has said, not only are they preventable, but we're going to do this by 2030. Now, that particular goal of 2030 may not be realistic today, but we're going to get there. So that's primary. 90% of girls need to be vaccinated. If we're going to
I have a hard time with that too, but because we are recording and there's people on Zoom.
Can you hear me okay? Right, so this is primary care, doing the vaccine. And the goal, if we can get to 90%, we're going to start approaching, remember the whole thing about herd immunity with COVID? There's another term which is community immunity, which I think is a better term. We don't like to be thought of as herd animals, even though we are. The other 70% refers to what we've been doing, Catherine and I and Margaret, which is screening. And we want to get to 70%. This is primarily ages 30 to 60. And then 90%, any woman that has advanced cancer should be able to get to the hospital and be treated. And that usually means surgery, often radiation and chemo. The problem in third world countries and developing countries is it's always too late, and they're almost always incurable. So going back to polio, think about, we identified the virus way back in 1909. It took 41 years before we got a vaccine. How about this? This better? Okay, I'm sorry. And so, think about COVID. Within the first 2 weeks, we had the entire genome of the virus identified. Within 2 months, we were already building the vaccine. Took a while to get it out to the public, but we live in a different age now. Technology is incredibly faster than it was in the times that we dealt with polio. So it's a new world that we're living in. And yet we're still, having troubles with polio. You can see in 2022, we got down to something like 68 cases of the vaccine, the circulating vaccine dependent polio virus, but we are going back up in those numbers again. So within Pakistan, within much of Africa, even countries like Spain, even in New York, we're starting to see the polio virus again. So we're not done. There's still work to be done. And we'll keep doing it. But I'm here to talk to you about the HPV virus. So it is a second most common cause of death of cancer for women worldwide. These are old numbers, 300,000. It's now 360,000, and it's on the rise. We're not winning this one. We are losing. There are more, despite all we're doing with WHO and everything else. We are going to see more cervical cancer. And if you are in Africa or places where you see HIV, the likelihood of dying from cervical cancer is about 22 times higher. So it is an area of severe work, and yet it's preventable. This is a preventable disease. So I often forget to mention, it's not just women. This is men too. Oral pharyngeal cancer, 70% of these cancers are related to the HPV virus. In Europe, it's even higher than that number. So it's not just this is not just a woman's thing. This is all of us. This is humanity's thing that we have to, as Rotarians, think about. So the vaccine, usually that's ages 9 to 13. Why the younger age? Because that's when the immunity is developed, often before they've been exposed. And even if they have been exposed to the virus, this is when their immune system is going to take that vaccine. And it is, there's a great book which I shared with Margaret today, written by Linda Eckert from University of Washington. Bottom line is the data shows the vaccine works and it is safe. So you may hear a lot about how dangerous this vaccine is. Read the medical literature, and I think you'll be reassured. Apparently, Bill Gates thinks so, and Prime Minister Modi also. So he's put out 400,000 vaccines to go to the Indo-Pacific area. And this vaccine, we're up to now the non-valent vaccine. So it will become affordable just like it has been with other diseases such as the polio vaccine. Now, all the ladies know what's going on here. Hopefully the men do too. I mean, it's just, I won't ask you what this is. We all recognize the cervix. But how many of you, any guesses to what this might be? It's a virus. Which one? Not COVID. Well, let's try polio. And which one is this? HPV. It looks, kind of blue and green. It's almost, almost attractive looking, but you don't want to have this virus. Because this you know, the cervix is an incredibly important organ. It serves to protect the womb from bacterial invasion, but it's also very versatile. So I've not had this personal experience, but you know, you have to relax to. Why are you laughing, Catherine? I think you've had this experience, and many of you, you know, you've got to open up 4 inches. I can guarantee you the male prostate gland cannot do that, not even close. So it's a okay. Moving right on. It gets worse. It's going to get worse before it gets better. So on the far towards me on the right hand side, you're seeing a normal cervix. The next slide over, you're seeing an HPV infected cervix. You see that little white patch? That's because if you take vinegar, 5% acetic acid, and if you take a cotton swab and you paint that on the cervix, it will light up where the virus is. So that is an HPV infected cervix. The next slide over is now pre-cancer. In other words, if you were to take a biopsy and look at it under a slide, you would identify early. We sometimes call it, you know, cancer in situ, and which leads over a course of time to advanced cancer. You see that on the last slide. And that takes usually 15 to 20 years. And if you get to that advanced cancer site, and I apologize for this slide. I gave this talk this morning and somebody passed it. She literally fell off of her chair. I felt really bad because probably there'd been so many of us have had an unhappy experience in our families. But, you know, cervical cancer is devastating. It spreads slowly. Imagine, you know, you're a woman with a household with many children, you're age 40, and you're sometimes, you know, basically the breadwinner from that family, as well as taking care of the children. And slowly but surely, your life is over. It's a terrible, terrible way to go. It's painful. It's agonizing. I don't think I can make this slide work. Which is okay. This is a slide from Africa. We have a movie, by the way, called Beyond Rasinga. It's the only time I've ever made it onto the screen. It's a good movie. I can share it with you. But it's a story of a woman who's seeing a patient there, and she's a gynecologist, and she realizes this woman has 5 children. And she also realizes when she did her exam that she has less than a year to live. And she just broke down in tears. Any of us who have had somebody in your family with cancer, you know what we all feel. I spent 45 years as a surgeon removing cancers. I don't remember any of the ones where I was successful. I remember all the ones where I failed. And it stays with you forever. And in my own family. So I know many of you have been touched in this way. And I just, you know, I want to share how important what we as Rotarians can do. And the thing about the HP virus, you have time. It takes 15 to 20 years for this virus to actually cause a cancer in most cases. Now I've seen 20-year-old girls with advanced cervical cancer, but normally it takes 20, 30 years. So the bottom line is the vaccine is going to take care of these children. They are not going to get cervical cancer. But what about all the women that are 30 to 60? We have to think about that population equally, because the number of deaths from both of these over the next 50 years is about, it will save as many lives with screening as we do with the vaccine. So where do we go? The reason India explodes on this particular cartoon is because they have more women. They don't have as high a mortality. In the United States, where something like the incidence is 4 women per 100,000. In India, it's probably more like 8. Where we work in Africa, it's more like 30 per 100,000. I've been in parts of Kenya where literally 40% of the women have had HIV. So they're all extremely high risk. But Africa is where most of the high mortality will be. It's upwards of 40 per 100,000. So what do you do? Here's where things get better. So this is right out of Silicon Valley. This little machine doesn't look very big there, but that's called Amphire. It's used by the NCI and the NIH. We are currently purchasing this machine for Bolivia. You are purchasing this machine for Bolivia. Thank you. Also for many other places I'll show you. And what does it do? Well, it will test, there are like 200 strains of the HPV virus, but the ones that are deadly are generally 16 and 18. Henrietta Lacks had the 16 virus, but there are many more too, and this machine will test for all of them and many other things. And so you take it to a low-income country, and the revolution, the take home about this machine is if we test women and they're negative, they're good for 5 years. You don't have to come to the hospital at all. We tested you, you're negative, you're good, come back in 5 years, we'll test you again. So what have you done? You saved 80% of your work. In the past, we only did VIA. I'll come to that, but VIA is visual identification with acetic acid. And that's work. Every woman had to come to the hospital, get on a table, go through a pelvic. Many women don't want to do that at all. With this machine, they don't have to. We can go, literally, we can go right to their own homes. They can go into the privacy of their bathroom, take a small brush, do a swab. That goes into a little test tube. Test tube comes to where the machine is. We can do 800 in a day. Now, I was going to pass this around, but I'm just going to show you the picture. Oh, there it is. Pass that around. So remember I was saying how technology is moving right along. So the company that makes this Amphire machine is now making this. You can hold it in your hand, and the brilliance of this little machine, which costs around $600, if all of us bought a machine, we could do all of Africa. Just kidding. But the beauty is you can go anywhere with this and you can get the result right there. So that's called point of care. So imagine you go to a little village and God knows any part of Africa, Nepal, Bolivia, you can run the tests and you can do it right there at the household. And you can say, guess what? You're negative. We'll see you in 5 years. Or if you're positive, hey, we got a little truck out there. We'd like you to come in. We're going to do an exam. And I'm coming to the good part. Right then, you can do the exam. If they have, like I showed you on that slide, they've got that early pre-cancer, you can treat them right there. So again, here's the way we do it. You can see the first thing you do is you take a brush. The woman is taught by the team that goes out, healthcare workers, midwives, what have you. She does a swab, vaginal swab. It goes in a test tube. Test tube comes and is running the machine. As I said, we can do upwards of 800 in a day. And I mentioned VIA, that's visual identification with acetic acid. So if you're positive, you're going to get a pelvic exam, 5% vinegar, pick your brand. Heinz is the best, I think, but you do your brand, and then you will know if that woman needs to be treated. So what if she's got early cancer? So we started doing this work. I work with PINC, it's called Prevention International Cervical Cancer, and we've done about 130,000 exams and probably cured close to more than 10, 15,000 women. Am I running out of time? Okay, I'll move faster. So this is what we use. This is the take home. All I ask you to remember is 20 seconds. This is thermocoagulation. It's replaced cryotherapy. Comes in a little hand case, battery powered. You place this while you're doing the exam up against the cervix. It will burn 2 millimeters deep and eliminate the cancer. Just remember 20 seconds. You too could buy one machine. So this is where we're working. Thank you, Margarita Huco. Thank you, everybody in your club for sponsoring. We've got 5 clubs. You probably know more about this, but we're in Bolivia. It's going well. We've done it in Guatemala. Guatemala is going well. Been there for 6 years. Come on and visit us sometime in Kenya. This is our hospital that we built there. Been there about 12 years. This is, now, see that little machine in the back? That's the new machine. It's in my backpack. I'm known as a mule. I carry them into any country you want. And it does the same thing as that bigger machine. Here is Nepal. You see the Himalayas in the background. That's a typical team. We always have fun. You know, I've been climbing mountains for a long time. I love doing that. One of my lifetime goals was to summit Everest. I never thought it would happen, and I did it. I did it in 1 hour. You just get in an airplane and you fly over. So I'm almost at the end. So this is our project down in Baja California. Thank you, Catherine Turner. And the work ahead, you know, we've got 134 projects, but we need a lot more. We need them all over the world. Thank you, Chicago. Juan, you are the best. And that's it. Yes. No, it's usually one time. However, of course, the woman needs to come back in 6 months, make sure it's worked, make sure she hasn't had any problems. Very rare. Occasionally, there might be a little bit of bleeding, and you know we take care of that, obviously. But by and large, minimum bad side effects. We usually give them. We give them Motrin. These women are pretty tough. So sometimes we'll inject before we do the treatment, but most of the time we just give them a Motrin. They go home the same day. That's it.
One more. Yep.
This all arose out of the first 5 collaborations, first 5 Rotary clubs. And not only does it show how when 5 Rotary clubs get together, they can do projects of much greater scale, but we found you through that collaboration. There happened to be someone, you know, who knew someone who knew what your work was. And it really, this is kind of a poster child for the value of networking through putting together resources. Because you guys are doing amazing work that's really simple, inexpensive, and impactful. But it all came about because the first 5 Rotary clubs decided to get together during COVID. So thank you for all you've done, and you know we really look forward to continuing to work with you.
I just want to say I thank you, and let's go to the next level. Think about Guatemala. Think about a scale. If they gave $2 million to Egypt, we could do all of Guatemala. Thank you.
Wow. Stay right here. Stay right here. Thank you so much. And here on the tape so much, but yeah, as Marshall pointed out, this is truly what Rotary is about and how we all work together to make such a difference. We have a small gift to thank you for your time and for the incredible work and information. I think it might hold one of those machines. It could go with your backpack so you can spread the word. Thank you so much. Appreciate it so much. Fantastic. And so just, you know, we want to continue the work of Rotary. And so, yep, we're going to get help to go back to our slide. So we have 2 new members that we're adding today. So if Hannah and Kevin and Andrew would come up, we're going to bring on 2 members. We're going to add to the service base that we have, get more work done. So we'll have you guys come up maybe over here so you're not right in the screen. Here's your script, if you have it there. Oh, you probably have it on your technology device.
It's better on the analog. So, well, thank you all for being here. Excited to go ahead and be the one to do this. It is my great pleasure on behalf of the Board of Directors and members of the Rotary Club of Chicago to welcome you as a member of Rotary One. Woo! Woo! We welcome you not only for the fine fellowship that we shall share, but also for your talents, abilities, and enthusiasm that will help us to carry out our many projects to make our community, our country, and the world a better place in which to live. Rotary is not a political organization, but all Rotarians are vitally concerned with everything pertaining to good citizenship and the election of good men and women to public office. Rotary is not a charitable organization. Its activities exemplify the charity and the sacrifices that one should expect from people who believe they have a responsibility to help others. Rotary is not a religious organization, but it is built on those eternal principles that have served as a moral compass for people throughout the ages. Rotary is an organization of business and professional people pledged to upholding the highest professional standards. Rotarians believe that worldwide fellowship and international peace can be achieved when business people unite under the banner of service. You're already standing. You have been chosen for membership in the Rotary Club of Chicago because your fellow Rotarians believe you to be a leader in your profession, and because you manifest the intelligence and commitment of heart that fit you to interpret and impart the message of Rotary. You are representative of your profession in this club, and any information of an educational value pertaining to that profession must come naturally to us through you. At the same time, you become an ambassador from us to your profession, and we rely on you to carry the principles and ideals of service which we here inspire to those who share your professional activity. The community will know and judge Rotary by your embodiment of it in your character and service, and we accept you as a member because we know our principles and organization will be safe in your hands. We also expect you to give us the inspiration that will help us to become better Rotarians, and it's with this hope that I ask the incoming president of the Rotary Club of Chicago to invest you with a distinguishing pin of a Rotarian.
I'm not going to put them on because you guys can do that and that.
I'd be scared of stabbing someone. I would be scared of stabbing someone. Invest with you a distinguishing pin of a Rotarian, got my hand right here, and gladly offer you the right hand of Rotary Fellowship. So,
Welcome, Hannah.
you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself real quick to the club?
Sure. Hello, my name is Hannah Johnson. I've been in Chicago for about 9 years now, an attorney for 5. I currently do property tax appeals throughout the entire U.S. and very excited to be here. Grew up with Rotaract, my dad being in Rotary, so I'll be able to call him and tell him I finally did this and he can stop talking to me about it.
Hi, my name is Kevin Taylor. Like Hannah, my mother has been needing me to join Rotary for a very long time, so today I get to finally tell her it. So, no smile on her face. I operate a financial practice within Northwestern Mutual. I specialize in serving purpose-driven professionals who are focused to a strong philanthropic streak in their personal lives. I also serve the LGBT community, which I'm a very proud member of. So, I've lived here in Chicago since 2020. Moved here 3 days before the lockdown started. So, thrilled to join such a prestigious organization with such wonderful people. My professional network, my personal network definitely will benefit from friendship with all of you. So thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. Welcome. Love to add new members. And we do have, oh my gosh, we have a lot of visiting Rotarians and guests today. Do we have visiting Rotarians first? I know we have at least one. Yep, go ahead, in the back. Oh, sorry. Yep, come on up if you're a visiting Rotarian. We do have, with the technology, we have to make sure everyone can hear us. Yep, go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, I'm Ken Cook from the Glenview Noon Rotary Club. Been there since 1980. And incoming or president-elect. I was at the PET conference for the second time, but it's my 4th round as a president, so I'm enjoying it.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Catherine Tennant. Yo soy un miembro de Baja Mar Rotarianos in Mexico. I'm District 4100 Baja, and I want to thank Andrew because sitting at a bar at Pets last year in Chicago, we struggled with how to get our HPV grant approved. And he gave me the courage to walk up to, what was our international president, Jennifer Jones, who was sitting at the bar also, no surprise. And he said, go ask her for help. And I had just met Dr. Godfrey and was talking to him, and we couldn't get it done. We didn't have sustainability. And Andrew said, just ask her what the solution is. And she says, find a group that will buy the test kits after you come in. And we changed our grant, we won it, and Mexico now has 4 cancer centers and probably the best chance of developing the program. And if you hadn't been at that bar drinking with me, I tell you, Rotary has a magic way. So thank you, Andrew.
Hello, Rotarians. Thank you for the welcome. My name is Mark Ntesosura. I'm from Uganda. I'm a student here, but back home I've been a program coordinator of a USAID cervical cancer program in Mulago Hospital. So I found this program online and I found it worth attending. Yeah, and thank you, Doctor, for the presentation. I liked the bit of thermocoagulation. One of the biggest problem we have in Africa is people come to the hospitals late for the services, for the screening. By the time you realize that you've got the lesions, the cervical lesions, with thermocoagulations or treatment, it's already late. They do not get the health education. So if you're planning to implement that project, please think about the education bit for people to know the signs and the possible ways they could prevent cervical cancer. Thank you so much. I'm from the Rotary Club of Chicago, Kampala, Uganda.
Thank you so much. Welcome. We seem to have a theme of meeting in bars and drinking today, but I think it's good. It's all good. Just want to remind everybody that we have our Rotary Means Business Fellowship, first Thursday of the month. Did you have someone to introduce? Okay. Okay. Go ahead. Yep. Do you want to introduce?
Well, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Li Fang Ho. We met through Richard a few months ago and started talking about cervical cancer and HPV. And then I realized that Li Fang is a Rotarian, but she doesn't know it yet. So let's work on that, okay?
There's so much of that in the room today.
So just you have like 1 minute to tell them what you're doing.
Oh,
Who you are.
Yes. And hello, everyone. I'm very honored to be here. As Morgan mentioned, I met Richard and in a conference, and we started talking. We realized we share a lot of common goals, common actions. So who I am? Yeah, I'm a professor of preventive medicine at Northwestern, and I'm also leading the Center for Global Oncology, and that's why we have a lot of common actions and goals that we share. And also I'm leading the Division of Cancer Epidemiology Prevention. So the cancer I've been doing, as I mentioned, I focus on cancer prevention. I served as the White House's Cancer Moonshot Advisory Board member. I visited the White House twice, actually. So cancer prevention, actually, I made it my lifetime mission. Because my own family suffered from cancer. Also, my research has been always focused on cancer, of course, from different angles. One cancer I've been really interested in doing, and I have been donating a lot of my efforts to do, is cervical cancer, because unlike other cancers, cervical cancer is largely preventable and affect women who are vulnerable, who are not in a very privileged social status. So I started working my cervical cancer project in 2 African countries. One is Nigeria, one is Mali. And we have been funded by National Cancer Institute. We also have been funded by private foundations that are in Chicago and outside Chicago. So what we have been doing is to really do what the gentleman just said, education women in the society and communities, and also we bring the technology, science, and experience to the communities. And so I hope I can share more with you guys. Yeah.
Thank you. We have so much solutions and service possibilities in the room. It's fantastic. Thank you. So we have Rotary Means Business Fellowship, first Thursday of the month. We also have every Friday, Ted runs his roundtable here at the Union League. Love to have everyone join us. Love to have everyone join me in Calgary this summer for the celebration. I think we'll be in a bar a bit. Apparently it works well. So, and we have some birthdays. I know Betsy's here. I think she's the only one in the room. Happy birthday, Betsy, yesterday. And continue to support our Rotary Club in every way. We've seen the benefits of that today, that's for sure. Now will everyone please rise and join me in the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And will it be fun? I can hear Paul Harris in my ear right now. Thank you so much. Go out and do good. Oh, yeah. Okay.